Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Sunrise Lane is a board game about building a town. Sort of, kind of, not really. This is an abstract game about drawing and playing cards. As you play those cards of certain colors and dots, you're going to be able to put buildings out. But there's no rhyme or reason. You're not building, I guess there are parks. I was about to say there's no parks. But you're not building like industry or commercial or Radio Shack or Toys R Us. You're just kind of putting buildings down of different colors for no rhyme or reason other than this happens to be printed there. I don't think it really has any bearing on this city that you're building. Where the game has interest is in the card playing, the hand management of trying to combo those moves in order to really kind of get a lineage or be able to put a scope down that will score some points for you. And I think that's where the game is going to shine. For my taste, it was a little too abstract for me. It was something that wasn't really pulling me in. I've seen these kind of games before where you play some cards and you put some buildings down, and they're not really of that interest to me. They're fun. I have a good time, not a great time. I have a good time while playing it, and they pass the time well enough. But with so many games out there, they just don't hit that niche or that position for me that I'm looking for. And Sunrise Lane finds itself in that. Now, I'm definitely in the minority. A lot of people like this game. Even in my written review, people were commenting on it about how much they liked it, and I was wrong. That's fine. That's going to happen. But I feel like that, I know this is a remake of a game, but I feel like that this is one of those games where you show somebody who's never played games before, their mind is going to be blown. They'll be like, wow, that's really, really fun. Let's roll that back and do it again. But for myself, I tend to like a little heavier games, and this one doesn't really push the buttons for me that I was looking for. I felt like I just played the cards in my hand. What do I have? What can I do with these cards? More than I have some kind of long-term strategy that I'm going to be able to implement during the game in order to win and score the most points. So I'm really just hamstrung. And that luck of the draw was more indicative of what I was going to do rather than any kind of brilliant strategy I was able to put forth. And that kind of brought it down for me a little bit. I would probably say it's a 5 or 6 on the BGG scale. People are going to like this. And the lighter you like games, the more I think you're going to like this. And the less you care about theme, the more I think you're going to like this. For us, it just didn't have the sticking powers. Nothing about it was like, hey, let's play Sunrise Lane again. And that's sad, but that's a reason to get rid of a game for us. So a purge for us. Here is Sunrise Lane, which is a Reiner Knizia game. You can see, I guess these are the buildings you're going to build during the game. I guess. Take a look at the rule book in a second. You're going to have a little bit of an insert here, I guess. It'll separate some of this stuff out. We'll set that aside for now. And we'll open up the components and show you what's in here. First of all, you're going to get this board. It comes out. It's a little bit smaller than normal. It's going to have a scoring track around it. And you'll see the buildings, and these have these dots of different colors and numerics. These will be the buildings that you'll be able to build. They're kind of cool, especially for like really what's in an abstract game here. Those are rubbery kind of feeling, and these are just tokens for the parks. It's kind of a weird thing. Also, you're going to get these really nice scoring pieces, but if you go over 100 or 50, then it's going to move to this cheap cardboard. It's a really weird decision-making that you'll be utilizing on it. First player token. And then this will be the cards that you'll have. They feel pretty good in the hand. I think they're fun. They just have the different colored buildings on them. And the artwork repeats over and over. They're just different colors. But they do have icons, in case you're colorblind, up in the left corner. Those are the components. They're fine. You're going to get a little bit of a scoring thing here. A reminder for the players about the end of game scoring. I think the components are just fine. Here is the rule book. You're going to have a picture of setup with a number over here with a picture of the components, which is great. These are what you'll be doing on a turn, either building or drawing cards. You can see it's broken down. Here's a whole example, full color with pictures. The examples correspond to the different pictures, which is helpful. And then the game end and a scoring example here at the end. You probably need maybe 3, 4, 5, less than 10 minutes to read through this. Fairly easy. You'll be up and running in no time. So what's going to happen is the first player will take the first player token. You'll get all of the buildings or number them based on the player count in your color that you're going to have. The parks will be set aside, as will the scoring sheet. You'll shuffle up the deck of cards, and everybody will start with 3. On your turn, you can make one of 2 actions. The first possible action is simply draw 2 cards. And once you have 5, if you were to draw 2, that's fine too. You just have to discard down to 5 at the end of your turn. So you only have 5 cards. The rest of this would go in a discard pile. The other action you can do is build. So if you're looking here on the board, you're going to see the center of here, and you're going to see buildings around it. You also see areas through here. So these will be the way you're going to be getting the majority of the area. So there is a center spot here that's no man's land or whatsoever. So on your turn, you can play a card of a color, and you can simply put down one of these buildings there. If you had 2 cards of the same color, then I could put 2 buildings on top of it like that, up to a maximum of 5, because 5 is your hand limit. So what you're going to do is the number of dots there, you'll multiply that by the number of buildings you're putting on there. So I'm putting 2 buildings on top of it, times 2, I would score 4 points for that. If I'd only put 1, times 2 would be 2 points. If for some reason I could build 3, it'd be 3 times 2, I would score 6 points for that. Now, when that is finished, I can continue to build on my turn if I so choose to. So then I could choose to go on this blue spot right here. So if I had a blue card, I could play one of those down or more and score points for that. I can continue to do that as long as I have these cards to play. Remember, 5 is the most. You're going to run out of cards rather quickly. Now, if you don't have a card, say I didn't have a blue card or I didn't want to spin one, I can spin a card of any color, and I can simply put out a park, which would let me extend out. Maybe I wanted to play this yellow because it's worth more points. I would do that. But you don't score any points for the parks, but it allows you to keep building out. At the end of your turn, if you built cards or built buildings, then you can draw one single card from the deck, and that will end your turn. Then next player can play. Now remember, the buildings always have to be built next to the center space or next to something that's already been built, whether it's a building or a park. At the end of the game, when somebody has 2 or fewer buildings, everybody have an equal number of turns, and then you'll score up. Here, you'll start your score for each of the 4 quadrants on the board. You'll start with 5-story buildings. Whoever has the most will get 10, second, 6, and 3. If nobody has any 5 buildings, then you'll do 4 buildings. Nobody has any 4, you'll do 3, and so on. You'll never score for 1 buildings. The B one will be majority. So whoever has the majority in that quadrant, in each of the 4 quadrants, will get 10, 6, and 3 for 3rd place. And then C, you're looking for contiguous ones. So you want buildings. So this would only be 1 building that's contiguous. But if I did something like this, I would have 3 buildings here. And if White built something like this, he would only have 1, even though it's 2 stories. I would have 3. So you would be scoring for this. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Very simple game. On your turn, you can either draw 2 cards as your action, or you can play cards that match the buildings and score points for doing so. And that's Sunrise Lane. Who should buy this game? People who like lighter games, maybe like something a little bit abstract. You like the hand management. If you're newer to games and you want a pretty looking game, the game looks nice. It does look great on the table. This might go into your hands. For our taste, it just didn't have the lasting power, something I want to pull back out. Unfortunately, it's going to be a Purge for us.